Dr. Blessing Enakimio. Let's welcome them with a warm applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Standing on existing protocol, we're going to just go for it. I'd like to tell my panelists, please, to be considerate of time. So straight to the point, where possible, please. We're going to be exploring financing technology investment. Essentially, what's the relationship between technology, finance, and education, which is very dear to me. We're going to look at how we can attract investment, ideally financial investment, and how to get return on investment for our investors. So if I can just go through with my panelists now and just introduce yourselves and what your strategy is to attract finance technology investment in Ondo State. I'll start with Dr. Wumi at the end, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished audience. Attracting financing technology obviously depends on what do you want to use the technology for? What are the areas that you want to use technology for? For example, because we're in the area of education, we're looking at how to use technology to address the areas of learning, especially down from when COVID-19 hit us really hard. It becomes really absolutely impossible for lectures to be, or classes to be heard physically. So in that sense, they'll be looking at areas where we can have virtual classes or using technology to aid teaching and learning. So in that wise, for us in education, we'll be looking at how to attract investments in technology for the areas of education. And there are various possibilities that are out there to choose from. And what you want to use it for and in the areas would determine the technology to be deployed. But it's a world of opportunities. It's a big opportunity out there for technology investments. Thank you.
I'm picking up on that. If I just push you further, how far have you gone with it? What have you done and what's next?
That would have been better answered by the commissioner, but I'll go to this. You will find out that the states, the Ministry of Education did like a strategic stratification of the states into 3 senatorial districts, where for every summer we have robotic and coding lessons for some of our students. This is ongoing as well in various areas. And also, we are looking at other areas where probably the money is not there to do that now. But we know that technology is moving towards areas where you'll be having, digital boards, smart boards, rather than the normal chalk boards. We'll also be looking at areas where curriculums will have to be downloaded online. I can foresee areas where we're going to be moving into the global village, all having similar curriculum worldwide. And all you need to do is to be able to download this curriculum for use. Lesson notes will have to be downloaded as well with time. So you need to have teachers to be trained in areas where they will be able to use and deploy these various technologies. And I'm sure SUBEB is working towards direction. The chairman SUBEB have spoken to me about some of these areas and areas where we can collaborate with my office to ensure that our teachers in the states get the required training. So those are some of the areas that we are looking out to right now. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, Commissioner, I'll have to come back to you to continue on that same question. But to add to it, we must remember that when it comes to education and to teaching, teaching in the classroom is not the same as teaching virtually. So I hope we're not making the assumption that teachers can just go ahead and teach virtually. So in answering that same question as to where are we and what's next, Commissioner, could you also address what you've put in place to teach the teachers to teach virtually?
Thank you very much. You have heard from the special advisor some of the things we've done. The only addition I want to make is that the ministry has a platform that we created in 2020 during the COVID-19. And in addition to using this platform to teach learners, the platform also has the capacity for management of both the affairs of the learners, the teachers, and even those of us who are administrators. By this, I mean that we have accurate information on all our learners, and the platform also provides facilities for monitoring continuous assessment, provides facility for monitoring attendance. Also, it has also helped in making our examinations more efficient. Now, by the time we conduct examinations within 24 hours, the result is out, and it has result checkers. Parents can check the result of their wards, and they can also monitor the attendance of their wards. Okay. These are the other things that that platform has been doing for us. Also, we have struggled to create virtual classrooms in all the secondary schools. We are not done yet, but with the support of our old students, most of these schools now have either a virtual classroom or what is called a resource center. And also during COVID, we had electronic teaching. But even when students were not in school, we were doing television and radio broadcast, and that helped us to continue teaching and learning even while schools were not on. I don't know if there are other things you want me to talk about.
Yeah, you said you struggled to roll it out to all the schools. So what exactly is the delay, or what's the struggle? What do you need more of? That's what we're here for?
Of course, we need more partners.
Okay.
To support us in this process. Obviously, government has been providing as much as government can afford, but of course, that has not been able to provide all the facilities that are required. I can tell you that even when you talk about the basic science and mathematics laboratories, out of 307 secondary schools, less than 150 has all the laboratories. And for primary schools, not more than 61 has what we call science centers. And we have 1,258 primary schools. So we have a lot to cater for. The infrastructures were completely run down. So while we are trying to do infrastructure, trying to provide instructional materials, in the process of doing all of that, it's not been possible to leverage, to invest in technology as much as we would have loved to do. And that's the area where we need partners. At some times, we were toying with the idea of making tablets available to all the secondary school students. It's a pity that Olumbe is not here. We were working together with SITA, and we had promises from some service providers that if we could buy a number, then certain numbers will also be supplied to us free of charge. That program didn't quite succeed, but we have not relented, and we keep sourcing for partners, and we are very excited about the opportunity of this investment summit, because I can see partners around here that will be willing to support us. And we are quite receptive, and the environment is very conducive.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'll carry on the conversation with the Commissioner for Finance, because I think it ties in nicely. Considering everything that has been said, what sort of resources have you allocated to solve this problem? And are you set up ready for investors? Are they going to be able to see that they will get their return on investment should they come forward?
Thank you very much. Regarding what has been said by the Commissioner for Education, in terms of the states funding technology, we are already looking at the various opportunities available for us to be able to fund technology for the various ministries and departments and agencies within the state. I'm sure we're also all aware that in year 2022, the National Assembly passed into law the Startup Act, which that act also establishes what you call the Startup Seed Investment Fund, which is being managed by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. This fund is meant to help with the development of technology, both for entrepreneurs and also institutions. We're looking at approaching them to see how much of it we can access for development or improvement on technology being deployed within the state, especially as it relates to the government. So we're looking at that. And also within our budget, we are looking at being intentional about deploying more resources to CETA, which is more like the central seat for deploying technology within the state amongst the MDAs. So it's something we're very conscious of, and we're looking at how to ensure we do that. But at the same time, we're also looking out for opportunities like we had with the World Bank some time ago, the SIFMACE program, which was meant to help deploy technology to improve transparency and financial accountability and sustainability on the part of states. It stands to the credit of Ondo State that when that program was introduced, the state came second in the whole country, and up till today we're still second in terms of implementation. Even the federal government failed in that area. And and that was a huge support coming from the World Bank. We are also looking at when we can also take advantage of what we call a public-private partnership, getting institutions abroad and locally that are interested in funding technology in the state. We're looking at them to approach them to partner with the state to help in deploying appropriate technology to fast-track implementation of government policies and helping to develop human capacity. So
okay. So how ready are you for international partnerships?
Yeah, I think we're ready. Our book says it all. We got an award of excellence for transparency and accountability from CIFTAS just this year, which is widely publicized. And that's one of the things that we've put in place to ensure that for any investor who wants to partner with us, our books are clean and open enough to convince them that when you invest, it will be judiciously utilized, every kobo, and we'll reach out to as many as possible, like I said, both locally and internationally, to support us in this quest.
Thank you. I think it's important because return on investment is always the key thing when it comes to international partnerships, because they're willing to invest, but they want to know that they will get their money back. So it's important that we always emphasize what they're going to get back, I suppose, in these partnerships. I'll move on swiftly to the Managing Director of Cloud Bank. What are you doing now, considering that the world revolves around technology? I think everyone in this room probably has a phone or two. So, no, sorry, sir. So what are you doing as a bank to support the state, and how have you positioned yourself?
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies. Thank you for having us today. It's very good to note that the most important thing about financial technology investments is human capital. You know, when we talk about investments, we always think it's monetary or money. The number one thing is human capital. However, this summit is very important to us at Cloud Bank, so we brought some of our capital market partners like Aquila Capital and DLM. I'm aware Chapel Hill is around. So we brought them in so they can finance some of the investments we've spoken about, the sustainable technology and so on. But it's good to note the number one thing is human capital. I'll just go over some statistics quickly and fast. The current head of global accounts for Flutterwave is from Ondo State. Her name is Okwe Abitoye. She's a personal friend. She, I think that was Minister of Health once. We grew up in Akure together. I spent half of my life in Akure. Futa produces half of the fintech guys you see on the world play right now. Thank you. If you look at the trajectory of the growth of fintechs, edutechs, and other technology companies in Nigeria in the last 10, 15 years, they came from IT ops. In Ife, they have what they call the MIT Initiative, ICT, where you have the founder of Flutterwave, the founder of Jobberman, and the founder of FarmCrowdy. After, you now have Covenant University that has the founder of PiggyVest, the co-founders, and some other fintechs. Not just fintechs, even edutechs. And there was a company, I think I can't remember the name, that during COVID, they were the ones doing the vaccines and so on. It's very good to note that, yes, money is as important as human capital, but without human capital, money will come to waste. It is very good to note. In the last few years, I've seen it in terms of talent from Futa, from Akungba, from University of Nigeria, because I've been to Ikotipene, Ibotabasi, to even recruit people for ICT, that regardless, ICT provides a means to an end to learn, to connect, and to expand your mind. And it might look small at the beginning stages. When you go to those places, I remember when I was in Ikotipene last year, there was no light where I was, but those guys had Wi-Fi and they were coding. Some of them did not even finish schools. They didn't have money to finish schools. But they had Wi-Fi. They could learn Laravel. They could learn JavaScript. And I employed one of them. His name was David Ekanem, to do what we called our internal dashboard for Cloud Bank. David today now works with Facebook. I spoke to him yesterday on FaceTime. He works with Facebook, earns over $120,000. David never finished school. So the first investment we need to understand as the state is human capital development. And every time I'm moving around Nigeria, everywhere in the world, I meet Nigerians from Futa, especially Futa. I met them in boats in Estonia. I've met them in Visa in the UK. They're everywhere in the world. We need to understand to bring our people back home to move forward as a state and as a nation. We have the talent. So on another play, going forward to make this fast and quick, also coming to funding, because obviously you do realize every fintech you've seen in Nigeria very successful now, or every other business requires a lot of funding. And most times people, we don't pay attention to it. We want to buy houses. We want to buy oil rigs, things we can see and touch. But we are leaving the viable investments to the foreigners as a state and as a country. We're also leaving it to, what will I call it, to other people to profit from our sweat and the work we've done. I'm sure you know about OP. I'm going to mention names quick and fast. OP has maybe $300 or $400 million investment from China, from Bank of China. All the profits will go to China. That's what will happen as we patronize these businesses. And I'm sure you do know. Most people feel like, I don't want to put my money in OP. I don't want to put my money in Money Points. These banks, I'm not trying to castigate any other banks that are here. They are bigger than most of the commercial banks that we see in Nigeria in terms of asset base. Yes. I remember last year when Money Point, a friend of mine, Ekundayo, he finished from Ife too. The company was called Team Apps. They've provided technology for all the banks in Nigeria. All. That's why when you use Money Point today, you think you're moving money from one bank to one bank. I don't want to go too fast into it. You're actually moving money within the same bank. But when he was raising money, he went around Nigeria, spoke to people, spoke to HNIs, did press conferences. Nobody gave them $1 million. He went to the US, got to Silicon Valley, and raised $55 million. Now, maybe 50 to 60% of that business belongs to foreigners. I know the last time I checked, their COO and the CFO are Americans. So we are leaving room by not tapping into our man capital, leaving room for these little, small investments. And the funny thing is this, the seed A investment is small money. It's not everybody I know that has $1 million or $2 million. But sometimes these students, most of them, always students, I've had some boys I gave 3 million naira to, by the time they sold to an Israeli company, they sold for $500,000. So most times, Colo.ng, you can check it out. They provide agency banking in Edo State and Delta State. Sometimes it just requires that little push for internet, for fuel, for coding, to buy the software, to buy a laptop of 1.2 million naira, and we'll be at the next level. I will admonish the states to save time, to invest a lot of money to creating hubs, not money, just small money, even if it's container shops and laptops and internet, in Okitipupa, in Akungba, in Futa, create these hubs, bring them together. I know the state was doing it before, and I know there's still a program like that. Let them continue to innovate some of the ministries we have, some of the parastatals, and create a bit of, platform for even other smaller units like agriculture to have data analysis and so on and so forth, and push them forward. And eventually you begin to see what we like call productivity increase across board. Thank you.
Okay, so still for you as well, considering everything you've said, appreciate that, but what are you as Cloud Bank doing to solve this problem? You know, we're here to solve problems. What are you doing as Cloud Bank? Is it possible to be the solution to these problems that you've highlighted? Okay,
I'll make this short and quick. I believe in doing stuff. I like to plan, but as some of my board of directors say, you like to do before you plan. That's my own strength. As I said, I brought 2 capital market partners here. One of them is here to offer Ondo State 80 billion in capital bond
That's
market.
what we want to hear. Yeah. Thank you.
For some of these projects that we have, obviously we'll be related with the Honorable Commissioner of Finance and the State. And we are here to, I know the Honorable Acting Governor was in Abuja to open our office in Abuja. We want to come to every local government to ensure that every civil servant, it's not just because I heard them, some of our guys outside opening accounts, they're like, I have so many banks, I don't need any bank. We are not just a bank. A bank of the future is a bank, I don't know, that enables you to have a better life. And I'm not talking about loans, investments, or you putting money in our bank. I'm talking about the bank giving you financial advice before you need it. On the Cloud Bank app right now, if you have it, you will be able to see, maybe you earn $1 million a month, you'll be able to see next month that the money you have is not sustainable for the lifestyle that you're living. So probably we'll give you an avenue to probably get a quick short-term loan, or probably put your money into the capital market to be able to afford next month. The bank of the future is not where they will be chasing accounts around, or they'll be chasing loans around. It's a bank that ensures better financial sustainability for you, for your business, and for even for the public sector. So what we want to enable in the next 2 years, we're not going to say we're giving you timeline. We're going to be in every local government to ensure that every civil servant, every business, especially agriculture that we have spoken to, can have access, not just to finance, can have access to beyond the world that we see. Right now, Cloud Bank, I'm saying it right now, I'm not trying to market. We have the only MasterCard that works in 168 countries. As I said, you can Google it. We were in Visa last month. That means you can access finance as quick as possible if you can't get funding in the capital market that is available. That means also you can get funding in terms of crowdfunding from people apart from loans at 4% per annum. So in the next 2 years, I can bet you'll be in every local government to enable that you can, Ondo State people in the remote areas can extend their hands to financial flexibility. That's what I would say.
Okay.
And I'll mention one now in Kaduna, just quickly. In Kaduna, right now, I know we were the governor last week. 4.2 million residents in Kaduna would have a Cloud Bank MasterCard, double as their state ID card, to be able to do things in the state and also access funding before their salaries are due. In Kano, where Cloud Bank emerged from, because Cloud Bank is a product of Shanono MFB, we bought the bank from Kano State government. We currently pay all the salary of the ISBAB, that's the security guys. in Kano, and all the guys you see are the mines in Borno where there's Boko Haram. So what we currently offer them is to have I forgot the name in Hausa, the chiefs of each village become agency bankers for us to be able to offer these guys cash, and they get value in terms of transfer as soon as possible. So we look at each areas and we designate the problems to them as soon as possible. And that's what we're going to do here very, very, very soon, in the next 18 months.
Thank you. So I'll move on to Professor Wallaby. Continuing from what has just been shared about human capital, could you tell us, please, what your stake is when it comes to that, what you're doing to make sure that we are developing our human capital?
Thank you very much, moderator, Your Excellency, and ladies and gentlemen. Well, when they say, it's Plato that said, when philosophers become kings, or when kings become philosophers, there's peace and progress. And I would like to commend the state government. This is homecoming for me. It's homecoming because I started my primary school in Ondo in 1958. It wasn't Ondo State then, yes. And I have jackpot for 25 years, to UK, to South Africa, and 20 years in Saudi Arabia. And I'm back home, and I'm glad to be headhunted by the forward-looking, visionary Vice Chancellor of University of Medical Sciences, Ondo. This is a reflection of where we are going. In actual fact, there are 3 basic letters in this life: B, C, and D. What does B stand for? B stands for birth. We have little or nothing to do with it. D stands for death. We have little or nothing to do with it. C are the choices we make. Ondo State government is making a great choice by this conference, this summit, and I think we need to applaud the state government. Leadership is key to development, and we are also following the footsteps of the state leaders by making sure that our students do not just graduate with MBBS or BSc physiotherapy or pharmacology and what have you. We are trying to stimulate in them the principle of creation, principle of innovation, principle of entrepreneurship. And that's why we established the Center for Entrepreneurial Development and Innovation. We have to catch them young. How do we catch them young? We have over 2,000 students in the university, but almost only about 70 of them seem to be interested in entrepreneurial development and innovation. But we have a program called STEM. What is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We make the student to think along this line. If we look at the list of Nobel laureates in the world, it's populated by American Israelites, Israeli Americans. How did they do it? They invested heavily on their educational system. I'm very glad to see that the Commissioner for Education, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology is here, and Commissioner for Finance. Since yesterday, I've heard only 2 people mentioned about the institution. Who drives all the gas, crude oil, finance, industry? Who drives them? People trained in the university, in the institutions. And that is why we are calling for proper investment. Investing into technology in the universities will go a long way at making life more comfortable for each and every one of us. We also have what is called Innovation Day, to make sure that we stimulate these ideas of innovation. Can we imagine that Nigeria imports mosquito net from a country that has no mosquitoes? Isn't it ridiculous? It is very, very ridiculous. These are some of the things we can do. We are stimulating our students to produce what we call normal saline, which is used, and they are all imported. We are also encouraging them to think along the line of drug production. Yes, the state government cannot do it all in terms of finance of the institutions, but we are making sure that we gear their minds into creativity, into innovation, and even aesthetics. We go to Dubai, we see Burj Khalifa, we see all these iconic buildings. There's art in architecture. There's also art in medicine. We all know women are very good when it comes to aesthetics. God has created them, but they have also recreated themselves. Not cross-gender, but in terms of, bonds and plastic. They do that, and which is good. So we are trying to make sure that there's eclectic mindset, holistic mindset in our students. We also have an investment center where we are now working with an inventor who invented snacks and bread for diabetics. We all know that diabetic people cannot eat too much of starch and what have you. So we are encouraging all these things in the university to make sure that we cater for those who are ill, who cannot enjoy what we are enjoying on a daily basis. So we are working towards that, and we are also trying to liaise with other groups outside Nigeria. Like, for example, we have 2 professors from University of Texas in Dallas and another professor from University of Salos who are coming to join us in the course. Ondo State seems to be first in almost everything. The first University of Medical Science in Nigeria, in the entire Nigeria. And this has been copied even by the federal government, cut and paste, or what have you. They now have one in Ila, there's one in Port Harcourt, there's one in Lagos, but Ondo State is the forerunner. We have to credit the former governor, Governor Mimiko, and the present governor, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, who has sustained this university, who are very keenly interested in the evolution and development of this institution. So we use technology. We have an age of robotic surgery. Robotic surgery is something that we are also promoting in the university in collaboration with others. With respect to entrepreneurial development, we are in conjunction with Liverpool John Moores University in the UK and a private organization, Teampreneurs. So we just established what is called Medical Entrepreneurship Innovation Group. And I'm very glad that Dr. Sumi Smart is working along that line. It's something we can collaborate. The more we collaborate, the more we synergize, I think the better for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That's very impressive. I'm conscious of time, but I do want to ask one more question, but it's one question for everyone. So we'll start with Dr. Wumi. Dr. Wumi, if that's okay with you. Right, so I know that this is all about developing possibilities. That's why we're here. It's about the change we can make. It's action, action, action. We want to be able to sign deals tomorrow. So my question to you is, what can we hold you accountable for? Come this time next year, what would you have done?
Thank you. By this time next year, obviously, depending on some other factors, I would have expected that we would have been able to either sign deals with, if there are investors there in the building, that can provide us with maybe small palm tops that can be loaded with some of the courses that are required in schools and universities. There might be somewhere that we're looking at. E-readers. These are things of the future. So investors need to look at how they can provide some of these computer-assisted studies, but at an affordable cost, because cost is the problem. But then there are other means by which this can be paid for. So it depends on the innovation of the investor. The investor must be able to come up with his own strategy of providing some of these educational assisted technologies, but at minimal cost, and that can be affordable. Another area is to look at you know, we have lots of rural areas. And so another area that investors will be looking at is how they can probably invest or provide us with products or services that would use minimal energy, you know, or even low energy, low operating systems and things like that, that make some of these devices very expensive and non-affordable for some of the students and their parents. So these are areas that investors should look at, and they should come up and talk to the states, and we're willing to partner with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The same question to Prof.
Thank you very much. My specialty is audiology. Many people may not know what is audiology because it's a course that has never been in Nigeria. This is the first time in Ondo State, in the whole country. And there's one thing that is very crucial. We have about 8.5 million Nigerians with what we call disabling hearing loss. To treat this problem, we have a device called hearing aids. And each of these hearing aids is at a minimum cost of about 500,000 to millions. And we are now collaborating with guys in FUTA, like you said, and some other staff members in the physics department of the university to invent a hearing aid which it costs less than 100,000 in this city, in this state. And we've also contacted a colleague in India who has actually gotten a lot of awards in terms of invention. And we are working together. And I think in the next 1 year, we should be able to realize that objective. It will be the first in Africa. The course we are also running will be the first in West Africa, audiology and vestibular problems, people with hearing and balance problem. It doesn't exist, only exists in South Africa, Egypt, and Ghana. Now we are bringing it to Nigeria for the first time and hope we will go places. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tolu, what can we hold you accountable for?
Cover that in the first round. Okay.
So I suppose it's in 12 months' time. When we come back next year, what are we going to see?
Okay, I can assure you at Cloud Bank we have presence in every university, every polytechnic, every college of education in Ondo State in terms of harnessing the human capital, which we see. I can remember myself having pounded yam somewhere yesterday, and a gentleman came with me with a dashboard I've never seen before. We don't have that kind of dashboard in Cloud Bank, and it's still in FUTA. So I can assure you that for our own benefit, even as a private venture, we will be in every educational institution, even secondary schools, to ensure they can learn how to code Laravel, JavaScript, and Node.js, which they use in financial institutions, to be able to obviously advance the course and also provide them financial accessibility generally.
Thank you very much. Commissioner for Finance?
I believe that by next year, I should be able to have, my ministry should be able to have attracted sufficient funds from the private sector and even especially financial institutions that we're doing business with to ensure that we have a more digitalized environment within the government so that virtually all the MDAs will be connected in a manner that will provide speed and efficiency in our service delivery. That's what I expect to have achieved within the next 1 year by getting the right kind of funding for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Commissioner for Education?
Thank you very much with the assurances we have got from Finance. And even, I think it will be a disservice if I leave here without saying that in spite of all the constraints that we have listed earlier, no power connection in our institutions, no internet connectivity, security issues, in the last 6 months thereabouts that I've been commissioner, in all the interstate competitions that are done nationally, we have always come first or second or taught in all the subjects, all the science subjects, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. Even in the Young Entrepreneurs Program which is the program of the presidency, exhibition is done all over the state. From the first edition to the 7th edition, we have come between first and third. So, and the special advisor mentioned some of the programs that we do currently, which is more like a mobile program. My hope is that in the next 1 year, all these programs will be, training our students and training our teachers on the artificial intelligence, robotics, coding, and all the rest. Instead of having it on a mobile basis, it will be available in all our secondary schools, so that all the nice things we are hearing about FUTA, and the one that Prof is telling us about UNIMED, will be able to say that concerning all our 307 secondary schools. And all our 1,285 primary schools, they must have science corners so that we can catch them younger. Prof said that it's good to catch them young, but we want to even catch them right from the root. And with the assurances from the Commissioner for Finance and with the preparedness that we have a needs assessment document that details everything, where we are now and everything that we need to get to our destination. And then hopefully by the time we are gathering again, I'm sure that we'll have a better story to tell.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to my panelists. Our time is up, unfortunately, so I do have to wrap this up. It's important to note that in order to create the legacy that we're looking for, we need to educate our young people to be futurists. It's important. In order to change the narrative, in order to change the conversation, we need to change how we teach. We need to think futuristically, legacy, long-term. So it's important that we support the education system. It's important that we use technology to enable learning where possible. Once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Please rise for a family photo. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, lunch is served. Just to